Hey there, welcome to this month's Stampin' Society. My name is Charlotte Mallet. You can find me on paintedorange.com or iHeartStamps on Instagram. And I am here to show you how I made this really pretty and quite simple card for birthday. This month, Stampin' Society is doing a mashup of annual catalog and mini catalog products. And I've got stamp set from the mini catalog, accessories and tools from the annual catalog to kind of make this beauty. Let's get started. The first thing we need to do is watercolor this background. One of the first things we're going to do on this card is we're going to use our watercolor paper to paint the background. Let's get that set up. We're going to use these three colors: Fresh Freesia, Polished Pink, and Pale Papaya. Those are all three current InColors. You are welcome to switch up the colors to change the look of the card. So we're going to use Fluid 100. Now what I like to do is this is 5x7. What's fun about this is when we paint it, we actually can chop it in half and get two card fronts. But what we're going to do is mount this onto a clipboard so that when we paint, it stays flat. We're going to take some old washi tape and we're going to just tape this piece of watercolor paper down. If you don't have Fluid 100, any watercolor, any cold pressed or hot pressed watercolor will work, honestly, because what we're doing is just a simple watercolor wash, and then we're going to drop in some color onto that, watch it bleed and blend together, and call it good. Okay, there's our background. You're going to need a little water reservoir. Just pour a little bit of water into a cup. And then in terms of brushes, I like to use a brush with a wide, like a 1-inch or a 1/2 inch brush. You can also use a water painter brush if you have one of those. I'm just going to use this 3/4 inch brush right here. And what we're going to do, we're going to get the brush good and wet, and we're going to soak the paper with water. So you don't have to be light on that. We're going to just get that paper good and wet, and it will stay flat. And I'll show you. You'll see that it's good and wet. And you're going to want to use these three colors. So we're going to take this Polished Pink, just a little ink refill there. If you have a stamp pad, that will work too. We don't need a lot. Some of this Fresh Freesia and the Pale Papaya. Just put these in a little cheap artist palette. And I think the color gradient that I would like, I think I might go orange, pink, purple. So that being Pale Papaya first. So let's get a little bit of Pale Papaya and watch that ink grow. I think I might want it a little more saturated on the bottom. Very good. And that ink kind of bleeds up, and that's fine because we're going to want this ink to bleed into the next color there. Very good. Let's just make sure this is wet. Okay. Now we'll use our Polished Pink. This is a little more saturated. You can see there, that comes all the way across. And we're just going to work that color towards the middle, in this middle band here. And I'm creating a nice pastel spring colored background. Now we may want these two colors to bleed a little bit more together, so we're just going to bring some water in and hope that those bleed across. It's okay that we've got some stripes, and then we'll use Fresh Freesia on the top up here. We'll start it at the very top just in case we've got too dark, and we'll pull that down. Perhaps we want a little more. That's pretty. And when that purple and pink mix, you kind of get a new shade of purple. Excellent. That looks good. I like how these colors have kind of blended into each other. There's some soft spots. There's some more saturated spots. And let's try something different on this half versus this so we can get a different look. We're just going to pick up some of that ink so that we get a more variegated background. So just with a paper towel, go through and just kind of daub up some of that ink. So you can see that it's a little bit more variegated. That's nice. Okay, we'll set this aside to dry. All right, let's see if this is dry. Feels pretty good. The tape's actually coming up. So we're just gonna pull the tape off. When this paper is wet, it's nice because the tape really doesn't stick to the paper. I've got no tearing. So you have a beautiful border there that you could just use in general on a card. We're gonna chop this in half though, and we are gonna chop this border off. So let's do that now. All right, these are chopped to 3 1/4 by 4 1/2, I believe. Yep, 4 1/2, 3 1/4. So this one is a little more just soft, and this has a couple of those little areas that we picked up. I'm not sure which one we're gonna use, but let's get to stamping. We're gonna use the Blessing of Home stamp set. We're gonna use this large image here, and we're gonna stamp one in the corner here, flip it around, stamp another in the corner there. So let's ink this up. On a large stamp like this, I like to ink the back side of the stamp. That way I can see exactly where my ink is needed. And then we're going to take it over the edge and stamp it just like so. And get a nice soft impression, but it's nice to see that ink color switch between the colors on the background. Let's ink it up again. Flip it, have it go over either side, stamp it, just press real hard, make sure you have a good impression, and there you go. Very pretty. We'll move this out of the way. That looks awesome. Let's move on to the next step. For our card base, we're going to use basic white, scored in half. So this is 4 1/4 by 11, scored in half, and we'll fold it in half with a bone folder. Now what I like about this white is how much contrast this color pops off of the back. I think though that the basic white might be nice if we did some embossing. So we're going to do another piece of white and emboss on the front. Now a good smash up of product from the annual catalog, we're going to use one of my favorite embossing folders, this brick background embossing folder. And we are going to emboss this piece of white that we will then mount on there. I've run that through the embossing folder. Look at that awesome brick texture. So great. Now I want about, I don't know, an 1/8 inch reveal all the way around. So I'm going to trim an 1/8 inch off of either side, or a 1/4 inch off of either side. I'm doing that after the embossing instead of before, because when you emboss, your paper tends to shrink. So let's trim that down right now. Making your trimmed measurement on this for 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then we're going to mount this onto the card front. Let's do that. Oftentimes, I don't think it will, it's actually fine. Sometimes when you emboss colored cardstock, the cardstock tends to tear or come up because the fibers have been softened, but the white seems to handle it okay. So we just add adhesive, and this is going to be mounted directly to the card base. And we'll just see if I can keep it square, because that's a challenge I have, but I think I've got it. And press that down there. That's pretty, and a lot of visual dimension to add to this. We're going to end up popping this up off of the background, but first I think I want to just also because it's white on white, I want to see that edge a little more. So I'm just taking my fingernail. You can use, I don't know, take your pick tool, anything that will really just kind of lift this. You can do it beforehand. I like doing it after because my fingernail just kind of fits in that channel and I can run it very simple along the edge, like so. And then we'll dog ear those corners just a little bit. That looks great. What do you think? Peach on the top, or papaya on the top, or purple on the top? Maybe dark to light because this is a heavier color. Maybe we'll flip it that way. Like I said, we're gonna mount this. I've put foam dimensionals on the back, and we're going to center and mount it onto this card base. Just like so. Boy, that's pretty as is. Let's add a greeting. This stamp set is full of so many great greetings. I'm always needing a thank you card, but lately I'm needing birthday cards. Let's do some classic stamping of just black ink on white cardstock. Let's use What a Beautiful Day for Love and Have a Perfect Birthday. And then we're going to chop the words up to come up with our own little sentiment. So we need to mount these stamps. Let's see. I've already used this one once. So we'll mount this. And we'll stamp it in Memento ink onto this white. Ink it up really good. And I might stamp a second one just in case. Beautiful. And now let's mount the Have a Perfect Birthday. What does that say? Have a Perfect Birthday. We'll ink that up. 1, 2, excellent. Now, when we trim these out, they don't have to be perfectly trimmed, even though it says Perfect Birthday. We're gonna just cut them. So just take your scissors, long scissors, short snips, that's fine. And we're just gonna chop the rows. So, a beautiful day. Okay, now we might need the 4 from this. What a beautiful day for what a beautiful day for a perfect birthday. And I think I want that to be 3 lines so that it's a little bit more impactful. So the beautiful day is my big sentiment. Ooh, that's fun. Now you could do this black with white embossing. That would look great, but this is just fun and simple. Just use your basic black stamping. Well, you can save these for something else or toss them away. Now we're going to pop these up with some dimension. When you're using tiny stuff like this, it's always nice to have take your pick tool or a paper piercer to help you place it down and align it before you actually press it down. Very good. Okay, and you notice I just lightly tacked that down in case this doesn't look the way that I'd like it to as we get going. There we go. How fun is that? Now let's add some bling. I love these iridescent rhinestones. They're particularly fun on a card like this because they pick up the same colors that's happening in the background. And we're just going to sprinkle them throughout this space in the middle here. And we'll take some of the medium size and a small. Maybe one more over in here. Yeah. All right. Perfect. So kind of a complicated looking card that is actually really, really simple. As a mashup, we've used the InColors from the current catalog, this cool brick wall embossing folder, and then from the mini catalog, the Blessings of Home stamp set and the Iridescent Rhinestones. Fluid 100 watercolor paper, your basic white, and you have a beautiful card. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to stamp with you today. I'm Charlotte Mallett, and I can't wait for you to see what we have in store next month for Stamping Society. There's so much cool new product. I can't wait to show you.